Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode on the podcast. I know it's been a few weeks, but welcome back. I'm grateful to have you here and to be sharing a lot of conversations that are coming up. These are all epic, and especially this one. So on this episode, I share an amazing conversation with my good friend, Dr. Sarah Jane. It's really weird to call her Dr. Sarah Jane. Sarah. She is the founder of Enlighten Clinics and Spinal Energetics. If you're in Melbourne, you might have seen this around, but you may have seen this around the world too, wherever you're listening from. It is going pretty global, as well as she is qualified in so many other things. So I'm going to attempt to read these out. So a Bachelor of Psychology and Philosophy, a Bachelor in Chiropractic, yoga teacher, holistic counseling certificate, a certificate in Buddhism, Esoteric Acupuncture, Chinese medicine, or she's in progress in doing that, and so many other things. Like, that is just really impressive. Like, I remember going to her bio and going to take this out, and I'm like, whoa, that looks really fancy. And it is. She has spent a lot of time, a lot of her years investing in learning her craft and bringing modalities together. One, because she's really interested in this stuff, but two, to bring that skill set to help a lot of people. And you get that in this conversation. I'm so grateful that our worlds came together last time. I think it was 2 years ago when I interviewed her for the first time. That was the first time I had met her. And ever since then, we became really good friends. And I'm really blessed that this podcast has allowed me to do that with so many people that are in my life today. They were a person that I interviewed on the podcast and became really good friends, and Sarah is one of those. So if you want to listen to the first episode, you can go back and check that out. There'll be a link in the bio. But in this conversation, we got to dive deeper into more areas, got to explore more conversations about life and about current state of life right now. So we dive deep into how it feels to be Dr. Sarah Jane after a huge growth in her life and business lately. The honest journey of life, like not hiding behind Instagram and just saying that everything's, all the accolades and the accomplishments, like what's the actual honest, real journey there. The lessons from our failures that we've had this year, why resilience is so important, and having acceptance for it all. Whether that's the good, the bad, in ourselves, in others, and so much more. This was just such a fun conversation, and we do joke around a fair bit. So you get to see our personalities in here, maybe a different side to both of us, but it was just a really enjoyable conversation. There's so many little nuggets of wisdom in there. So sit back and enjoy this episode. Before we kick off this episode, I just want to give a little announcement, a little PSA to a few things that I've got coming up in my life, but also some things you might be interested in. So 2 courses, 1 event. So the event coming up is from one of our sponsors and who I work very closely with is Sacred Taste. So the beautiful cacao that I rave about, if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? No, I highly suggest it, and as an incredible product, drink, nutritious hot beverage. But also, as part of Sacred, we do ceremonies, so cacao ceremonies, but also on the full moon, we do cacao parties. Now, last year, we were every month back to back. This year, because we've all been traveling and in different parts of Australia and the world, we haven't had a chance to. So this month is our first full moon cacao party of the year, and it is going to go off. It is in Melbourne. It's on the Saturday, the 30th of September. It's at a warehouse. To be a little bit more specific, it's in West Melbourne. And basically the night is filled with, you buy your ticket, you come in, you get to enjoy all the flavors of cacao. There'll be intention setting, there'll be connection, there'll be a little bit of breath work, meditation, but myself, Dan, and a few others will be DJing on the night, and we will be throwing down all the trance and house anthems from the years. It was such a fun time last year doing an anthems party. It is an all-white party as well, which will be so much fun. And I just think, when we got the group together or got the community together, that energy, that vibe, plus cacao, no drugs, no alcohol, just good people enjoying good music. It was honestly some of my favorite moments. One, being a DJ, but two, just amongst the community, amongst people that want to have a good time. So if you're in Melbourne, even if you're not in Melbourne, join us, please. There are tickets available, and you can get them through the Sacred Instagram. We are Sacred. Go check it out. There'll be a link in the bio as well. And then 2 of my courses that are coming up. So one is an online course that you can access anytime. It's 4 modules. It's called Inspired Workshops. If you're someone that wants to run workshops, whether it's, the things that you're skilled at, or you want to run, a women's or a men's circle, or something for kids, or something for your community, or something for schools, your workplace, corporate, whatever it may be. I've been running workshops for the past 8 years, and I have broken down how to run workshops and how you can go do it very simply. Whether it's for the love of doing it and you want to do it for free, for your community, like I do on every Saturday, we do a sunrise session, it's wellness. Or if you want to do paid events and make it your side thing or your career and share your skills, like I've done as well. Last year, most of my, what I was doing was running events, and was able to impact a lot of lives and also make income as well, which I think is such a beautiful collaboration of the both. In this course, I show you how to do that in 4 modules, right? Starting with you. What is your unique thing that you want to share? What's your gift? What's your branding behind that? 2 is how you actually create an event, whether it's, a workshop that's an hour or whether it goes up to, a full day event. I give you those templates and we help you craft it. 3rd is to, how to run a meditation and hold space. I think that is so important when you're running a workshop, and can also be one of the, you can definitely tell when someone's just kind of running off a timesheet. Holding space is an art and it is a skill that you can learn. And the 4th is how to make your impact, grow that impact by starting your business, but also how to make income from it as well. So this is really exciting that I've finally got an online course. You can do it in your own time. It's all recorded. The link will be in the show notes, but it's www.carloscirillo.com/workshop. Go check it out. Also, my other one, really quick on this one, I run this program, and a mentor program. I started it 4 years ago. We've had over 300 people come through it. It's called the Inspired Blueprint, formerly the Conscious Blueprint, but changed to be with my branding right now. The Inspired Blueprint, it was a 2-day, it went from an 8-week online program where I would mentor you as well as other leaders into a 2-day event. Now I've gone back to the online because I'm going to be traveling a lot, and I want a lot more people to access it that can't due to physical locations. So the 8-week mentor program is back. This is to help you create your inspired life, to create more connection to yourself, to find your purpose, to go through the process of understanding your why and who you are, and releasing a lot of what you've been holding on to through forgiveness, going through the modules of gratitude, but then also creating your vision for your life and getting super clear on your values, those things that drive you and move you forward. So if you're feeling a bit lost or maybe feeling a bit down, you want to improve your life, you want to have a vision that inspires you, that you can wake up in the morning and go, this is who I am, and this is what I'm doing with my life, then this is the one for you. And I'm so, like I said before, so grateful that I've had over 300 people come through this and create an incredible transition in their life. I think this is a great first step of personal development, but for anyone that really wants more connection, more clarity, and confidence in themselves. You can apply for this program. We do have limited spots in the show notes below, so go check it out. It is at my website as well, carloscirillo.com, and you can find all the details there.
Let's go. This is what we're doing?
Yeah,
okay.
We've started. We can just
all right, here we go. We started. No, now this is the real start.
Oh, Sarah, it's been, well, we've been catching up a little bit now, but it's been a long time since I've seen you.
It's been.
Just in person, generally.
The last time I saw you was for your event.
Did I have blonde hair?
I had blonde hair too.
We've gone back to brunette.
We've gone back to the dark side. Yeah, you had just dyed your hair blonde.
Hang on, the live show.
Yes, and I brought my best friend Simi, and we went and watched it. It was the Cleanse & Co.
Yes, Hayley.
Yep. Yes, and you, and I think Stephen. Steve was on there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I am... That seems like a long time ago.
I think it was a while ago.
Well, I was blonde late last year, so yeah. And I've lived in Mildura, but I've lived in Mildura. You've been all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're back.
Always in my heart, Carlo.
Thank you.
Everywhere I go, you're there.
In my heart. It's sure one of these tattoos has my
That's
name on
there.
it. Like, yeah. And you're like this. I was saying before, like I don't invite many people back for round 2. So, welcome back. It means that you must have left an impression.
Well, that was the first time we met.
We must be friends. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, we didn't even have our session then. Did we have the session before or after?
After.
So I got to feel the magic afterwards.
Yes.
And to bring some context, because that could go many different ways for a lot of people listening.
A session
Sarah
with your lovely partner. Thank you.
Yes, and Dan and Claire.
Yes, it was a foursome.
It was fivesome if you include you. But we had a great healing session. Network, or I don't want to get this wrong now because I was just thinking of the other one.
It wrong now.
Spinal energetics.
Spinal energetics is my modality, and just to clear that up, I was a network chiro for a very long time, which is why people aren't necessarily aware of what the differences are as such. But came from a chiropractic background, specific network spinal. That got me into, I guess, tonal chiropractic, we call it, where we're not manipulating the spine. We're working on the tonal level of the nervous system and working predominantly on the sacrum and the cervical spine. And network really inspired me in terms of that. And then some other modalities as well, such as access bars, alpha alignment, influenced by inner dance as well. I guess also motivated by other modalities out there such as spinal flow. My mentor created that and then created, he's coming to fix my mic, and then created spinal energetics after that, which is a merge of both Eastern and Western philosophy, and that's what you guys came and experienced, which is great.
So cool. And like, so when we had the last interview, it wasn't spinal flow. Like you weren't talking about spinal flow. That wasn't a thing then?
That's another technique, so I just don't want to...
Okay, so... Okay, so...
Spinal energetics.
Spinal energetics.
There's a lot of names.
So did we talk about that?
No, because it didn't exist.
Okay, so for those that want to know previous about Sarah, I'll link in the show notes that conversation because we don't need to do 2 of the same one to find out the backstory of everything. But what's been that transition and what's been happening in life since then?
Well, I think the transition mainly came because I was inspired by so many different modalities, so many different ways of working. And
so you created your own.
So I wanted to create my own, which wasn't just a purist modality of following someone else's work and someone else's ideas. I started to create my own ideas and my own philosophies around things and my own perceptions of what contributes to someone's healing and someone's optimal living through their nervous system. So it's definitely inspired by everything I've done up to date, but also clients and people who are experiencing my work really notice the difference. They notice the evolution in terms of like, this isn't network, this isn't spinal flow, this isn't these things. You really need to start describing it in your own way. And so that's when we came up with Spinal Energetics. It started off with a course just for my clients. They wanted to learn it. They wanted to understand what they were experiencing. And then it just took off. So we're very, very lucky that we get to teach it all over the world and all over Australia. We just opened up a hub in Melbourne, our Spinal Energetics HQ, which is really exciting. We do all our courses from there now, Australia-wise. And then, we're going to the UK, Canada, and back to LA next year to teach internationally. And we've got over 300 practitioners now in under a year in starting this work. And we're very particular about who gets in to undergo the course. So we could have had a lot more practitioners than that. But we're quite selective of who's doing the work just because it's very potent, energetic style of practice. Yeah.
How do you even, one, congratulations, that's impressive.
Thank you.
Very impressive. How do you go about choosing, why are you so particular? And on what points?
We're very particular because we want to maintain the integrity of the work. And it's work that you need to have the right intention and the right heart space to work with in terms of people as well. it's not just a modality that's there because it's popular at the moment, or it's like a buzzword in terms of nervous system and vagal tone and things like that. We're really wanting to create long-term results for people so that the modality can be around for a long period of time while developing and growing as well, but also, be long-standing in terms of this healing world. And sometimes you have to create something that's special, and not just special in the moment and let everyone and their man and their dog in who wants to do it, but people who are actually in the place to be facilitating this kind of work in a safe way, as well as in a way that's of true intention of wanting to make the world a bit better for people.
Yeah. So it's a matter of like vetting that person, seeing their intention, but also what they want to do with it too, or maybe even who they are as a person.
Who they are, what they're planning on doing with the work, and also what they've done up until this moment.
Yeah.
So we tend to choose practitioners who already have an existing business and they're looking for a missing puzzle piece in that business, and spinal energetics tends to be that, as we're working with the mind, the body and the soul all at once, and all the different fields in terms of the energetics seems to be something that a lot of already successful practitioners are wanting to delve into a little bit more. And I think energetics really is the way of the future. I think we were discussing that in the last one, and now this is kind of how it's evolved.
Well, it's funny not funny, sorry.
Funny?
It's impressive. It's impressive that, since then, that was 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago, 1 clinic to now 3 clinics.
Yes.
But then also you didn't have a course then. It wasn't.
No.
It was you doing it. You were the sole person running all of that.
Yeah.
That just shows the popularity of what you teach and what you've been doing, but also I've had my partner come through and be is that right? A teacher?
Yeah.
Yep, she's a practitioner.
Yes, a spinal energetics practitioner level 1.
There you go.
Yes.
And to see other people, I've seen people within the network then do it as well.
Yeah.
And now teaching them, whether they work for you or doing it in their own things.
Yeah,
I think it's becoming one of those additional things that if you can add that value to someone's life, then that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and we encourage everyone to utilize the work in their own space. So if they already run breathwork events, then incorporate spinal energetics. We encourage people to find their own artistry, their own, they don't need to be like me to use the work. We encourage people to place it in their own life and in their own existence in terms of what they're already doing that's helping people, and just giving this as an extra opportunity to take it to the next level for people. And it seems to really be doing that. And, it's gone larger than I thought it would, that's for sure. But then I'm not surprised on the other hand, because I think people have been yearning for this. It's like when you see the videos, there's something in you that's like, I've been looking for this, and here it is. That's what people tend to say. They say, I was searching for something, and as soon as I saw your video, I knew that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
We've got people flying all over the world to experience this course. So we're so happy.
And that's what's been really interesting to watch is that also I think that the demand was really high for you, and then there was that realization of okay, we need to train more people because I can't do all of this. But then also within that as well, you've gotten so popular on everything. Your Instagram has grown so much.
Yeah.
Articles, TV, all that fun
media.
stuff. Yeah, you're celeb.
Oh, I don't think about that. But I think the mainstream media is starting to understand that there's more than meets the eye in terms of other options. I think COVID helped that as well, in the sense that the traditional medical system was overloaded in terms of seeing psychologists or seeing, more traditional models of health, that people started being more open to alternative ways of experiencing things, and maybe different ways that they had never thought of before, and maybe just expanding their horizons in terms of what's possible out there in regards to how they feel and how they live their life. So I think people have been wanting this a long time, and we're literally just assisting people in remembering, who they really are before these, moments occur for them in their life, and not letting them having to be stuck in the past or stuck in terms of fear of the future, and really living in the present moment, which we discussed last time in terms of the work that I do. And it really did evolve from what you're saying, in the sense that I couldn't keep seeing people myself. I'm like, how can I make this work grow without me doing it all myself? Well, I'm going to train other practitioners, because it's about the work. It's not about me. It's about what we're doing to assist people in a way. And I wanted that to be a larger way of accessing. And that's how we did it, through things like Instagram and stuff like that. So it's an accessible model,
Yeah. Has it been interesting being able to go overseas but also see this like a similar interest? Like, did you know people overseas, or has it just been a natural?
No, it's been natural. We're actually more popular overseas than what we are in Australia. So
Wow.
yeah, our larger base is in Canada, and LA specifically, and also Europe and UK more specifically. So in terms of Australia, we're a little bit behind still. So we're working on that too, but most of our practitioners are Australian based just because we were Melbourne based originally. And we've just launched our online course as well to make it more accessible for people around the world. Again, we're even more particular about who gets in for that, where I've got about a 10% acceptance rate for people who apply online, just because it's a different way of experiencing and learning. So we just want to make sure that you have the ability to learn the material, because it's actually really intricate. People think, they see these videos, they see me waving my arms and looking a bit crazy, and that it mustn't have much process to it, but it's actually a very intricate modality. There's a process for everything. There's a reason why we're doing everything. The touches are even very specific, and they have meaning behind everything that we are doing. So that's something that I think surprises people when they come and do this course. They're like, this is way more intense than what I realized. But I kind of enjoy that, because that's really the blending of the East and the West. We're blending the mental, the mind and the structures, and to have that understanding, so it's still a grounded work, as well as then bringing in more of the esoteric and the energetic centers as well, so that we can help people transcend in that regard too, but keep it grounded in this 3D realm of being a human, so that people can still pay their bills and live day to day, and be more authentic in who they are in this realm, and not have to always wanting to escape this world. That's what I find with most people when they find this work. They're like, I don't like living in this world. I don't want to be here. So it's like, how can we bring your inner world into this world so you can actually enjoy being in this place?
So it's a bit more than just making the noises. And
yeah, a little bit more than that.
It's funny. I joke around with Georgia. And she's like, the noises, and I'm like, yeah, because I've experienced it from Sarah. Like, I do.
Yeah, you need the noises, and people think the noises are just training, individuals to move in a certain way, and it's far more than that. Energy is sound. Sound is energy. The way that you use your sound is going to change the way that the energy flows within the system, which makes a lot of sense if you even just look at the quantum physics of the world, and how we are energy, and we aren't even these dense surfaces, and it's certain things that are making us perceive that we're this and that's that, and it's a lot more intricate than what we realize. And when you start understanding the basics of what we actually are, energy work doesn't seem as woo-woo or as far-fetched. But in saying that, I do get it. When I watch some of the videos myself, I'm like, that does look a bit crazy, Sarah. And I'm all about that, but I think people usually suggest like it may be demonic, or there's something negative happening, and I just don't understand that concept as such. This is nothing to do with religion. This is a natural nervous system response when under stress and releasing stress. Animals have it in the wild in terms of their shaking off response. We are animals. This is no different. It's a remembering of release of tension in the body, in a very natural remembering way. And so I think in terms of our Western society, we're a little bit behind in understanding what the body's capabilities are in regards to that, and what our capabilities are as human beings to move through what we're experiencing ourselves, rather than relying upon someone else to take that for us. This work's a very empowering work where we're active with the client, we're facilitating with the client. It's not us doing anything to the person on the table.
Which I think is what people expect.
Yeah, like a magic pill,
Like you're doing it. You've got strings attached to people, and that's why they're moving, and you've told them what to do. And
I've been told I must pay actors. So that's apparently what I do as well. But it's also not just about the movement, but the movement's just a very natural response to the work when you're working with it. And the best way to explain it, I can explain it as much as I can rationally with words, but you just have to experience it for yourself. And once you experience it, it makes so much more sense. You just feel it, and then you just know it. It's like we don't know that the air is there as such. We've heard of it, but until we breathe it into our lungs and experience that, we don't understand things until it's in our own kind of world, in our own context, unfortunately, as humans.
Yeah. And I think the other example you shared last conversation was like the electricity thing. Like, you don't know what the electricity is doing, but you flick on the light.
Yeah.
and you know that it turns on the lights.
Yeah, and you just need to let go.
Switch.
You just need to let go of this trying to understand it with the mind. It's far greater than that. And we are far greater than just what makes sense with the mental.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, people really try to confine it and understand like, well, 1 + 1 = 2 and when you just need to let that go with this kind of work. And, you know, I think science will catch up. Everyone asks, like, is there science behind it? No, not yet. But I think there definitely will be a moment in time where we can, you know, prove what we're doing and the changes it makes, whether it's from like heart rate, whether it's from the hormones in the body, whether it's from stool testing, whatever it might be, to help us understand what the body is going through. You know, 10 years ago, meditation still wasn't considered, you know, much in terms of the West. And now we're starting to, it's becoming an everyday thing, you know, breath work, things like that. We're starting to be a little bit more open to these different ways of the body's natural responses of engaging with what tools we already have within us to change our, you know, our state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it a lot of it based around nervous system?
It's the easiest way to put it because we're working with the spine specifically, and the spine and the brain are the nervous system. So what we're working with is the notion of when you experience things inside your in your life, outside of your window of tolerance, where does that go? Do you just experience it and move through it, and there's no evidence of that in the physical? And so we're starting to get people and educate people on the notion that if things happen, whether it's an emotional thing, it can alter the physical. It's still that idea that the mind and body are separate, or that the body's just this mechanical, you know, meat system that's separate from our feelings, from our emotions, from our thoughts. So once you start to understand that they're not separate at all, you start to realize that maybe some even ailments or the way that the body's responding physically is actually connected to what you've been experiencing in your life emotionally. And that's still a concept that's quite new for some people. And that's where we're trying to educate. It's more the nervous system in relation to that and the state that we change as a result of what we've experienced.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's becoming more mainstream as well. And with more mainstream comes all different perspectives and all different modalities. And, you know, we've seen that with, like you said, breath work. We've seen that with ice baths. We've seen that with the work that you do. We've seen it with Reiki. We've seen it with, like, these are the things that people are now going, well, it's not just some woo-woo therapy or whatever it is that it's helping people. It's actual, not from science, but like it's people are getting results
to it, you know, and at the moment it's quite subjective in terms of the results, but everything starts off that way. People think science comes first. That's not the case. What happens most of the time is people start experiencing these things, and then we look to science to help us explain it. And that's where the future will be with this work, you know. So I have no doubt about that. I've seen the changes. I understand it every day, and that's enough for me. And I still get surprised, and I'm someone who works with it, and I'm still like, this is insane. Like, this is incredible. But it's not a magic pill either. You can't just come to one session and everything's fixed and then you're fine, you go on your way. That's not what life is. There's nothing that can suggest that. If you're a human being, even if we did clear everything or clear all the patterns within you, you're going to go out there and experience life again, and things are going to occur again. So this is more of an assistance to life, an assistance to help you be in alignment with yourself internally and externally, and just assist you in terms of how you're experiencing and responding to life, how you're reacting to life. When you're closest to your true self, you respond in a very different way to someone who's in a reactionary response based upon a nervous system, fear state, because it feels like it's in danger or whatever it might be. It just changes in terms of when you have the conscious aspect to it. So when you're conscious and aware, you can't respond the same as when you're unconscious and not aware.
Yep.
And that's what this work does.
And with all that, though, there also comes, like you said, like, the people that are skeptical about it. Sorry to disappoint everyone, in thinking that, oh, I'll come once and then my life problems are solved, which I think a lot of people have that. And that's, I think that comes from a lot of what we've been brainwashed to think, or even, expect that if I come once, everything should be solved, but you don't. Shower once and stay clean for the rest of your life. Go to the gym once.
It's a consistency thing as well.
Yeah.
But what I can say is you will notice a difference after one session.
Yeah.
You will feel different. You will notice that something has changed in you 100%. Like I can, there's a change. But it's not this dramatic thing where all of a sudden everything's...
I've reached enlightenment.
Yeah.
And,
We're still here. And, I'm still a human being too. And I think I'm very different to what people sometimes perceive me to be. They see me doing these videos and I have people coming over to do my courses and then they meet me and they're like, oh, hang on, you're not like this person that we had envisioned in our head, because I'm a very grounded individual. And all the practitioners that we have who come and help us and teach the work in terms of when we travel overseas and in Melbourne as well, they're just great people, everyday people. This work is for everyday people. You don't have to be a spiritual person. You don't have to be a religious person. You don't have to be Buddhist. You don't have to be a chiro. You don't have to be anything. You just have to be someone who's willing to see beyond what we think we know.
Yep.
And have that, I guess, that yearning for a higher purpose. There's no one who does this work who doesn't have that yearning within them, who's looking for something, who's looking for that sense of home. And this work makes you feel like home.
It's not something you go, look, I'm looking to step back in my career and just do something. You probably wouldn't be applying for this.
You wouldn't get in.
Good.
You wouldn't get in, Carlo.
Good vetting. Oh, I'm just hoping I can play the friendship card. And get in this 10% here.
You're fine.
No. You'd be like, you've got other stuff to do.
Yeah.
You don't need more things on your plate, Carlo.
Well, that's true too. And we assess that with people as well. We just want to make sure that most people who want to do this work are either people who've experienced it themselves, or heard of someone having an experience themselves, or they've seen the video. And then even to get in the course, you have to experience sessions before you're allowed to be, accepted to come in, because we want you to understand what you're signing up for.
Yeah, it's not a just cereal box certificate.
Yeah, no, and it's a very. I don't want to say intense, because that makes it sound like it's something to be fearful of, but it has an intensity to it in terms of energetic work. That is for sure. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's for people who really want to change, people who really want to experience life in a different way. You can't half-ass this. So you're either all in or you're not. And that's what we expect of our clients. That's what we expect of our students. And that's what we expect of ourselves, and especially the pressure I place on myself to make sure that I'm always in a state to teach the work and also be a practitioner still and help my clients as well. So that doesn't mean I have no problems. I have plenty. I'm a human. And you'll find that most healers, for lack of a better word, do end up having these interesting lives so that they're able to, I guess, understand or comprehend the differences of what people come to you with in terms of what they're going through in their lives. So you almost need to experience as much as you can as a person to be able to hold space for people, because you can't guide people to a place where you've never been before. So I've always found that my life has been very interesting, and it's been of great benefit to me in terms of this kind of work.
I sign out to that now.
Yeah,
I feel like there's enough. There's enough I've gone through. And I remember someone saying in a reading where they're like, oh no, your life path, your life numbers, like your astrology, you have to go through the shit in order to inspire others and share with others. And I'm like, when did I get dealt this card? And
I think
why
we
did
signed something.
But where did I sign this? I want to see this.
I'm telling you, we did.
The year that we've both had.
I know. Oh, look, it's not even a year thing for me. Like, it's beyond that. And, I just don't think you'd be interested in this realm, though, if you had a very easy, and I know everyone's got challenges, but if you had a very easy kind of life, there would be no yearning to find out more. There would be no wanting to understand people more. There would be no need for development, because there's no challenge there to develop yourself further. Well,
you wouldn't want to help. You would be more like, they can do whatever they want. I'm just going to focus on me and my stuff.
Yeah, like I know that we would have had big hearts anyway. I think that will just, that's in our nature. But I think that drive to help, that thing that keeps you going when things are hard, you have to really feel it in your own bones to keep going. Because life as a business owner, life as a teacher, life as whatever you want to box you want to place me in, it is not simple. It would be far simpler to work for someone else, get my salary every week. It doesn't take as much from me. This is literally a reflection of every ounce of who I am as a person. And that's not to say I'm attached to it in that way, but it is almost a birthing experience when you create these kind of things. So it's part of who you are. And I don't think you would want a modality that's not. Mm-hmm. You want it to come from a pure place. So, yeah. And for that purity, you need to have experienced the mud. The shit.
The shit.
The shitty shit. But I'm with you. I think life can be easy too, and I think life can have joy too. And I'm ready for that in the next chapter.
I feel like our karmas should be circling back around.
Yeah, I think, I think the lessons that we've learnt, surely like when we come back next life, it's going to be a bit
What do you mean
simpler.
next life? I want it like next month, not next life.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm not here for this next life stuff. Like I'm here. I'm ready now.
You're ready now.
I'm ready. I've cashed my investment now. I've been through it.
You have.
I'm ready to withdraw.
I think though,
goodness.
It puts you in this place where you have to be ready to receive it as well. And I don't know if I was always ready to receive it. And even what I've been working through now is receiving it without having fear of losing it. There's always something else to work through. Always something else to work through. And I don't know how else to explain it other than you don't really have a choice but to keep going. It's not in your nature to give up. It's not in my nature either. And so, people say, oh, you're so strong with what you've gone through in your life. It's not a strength thing. It's a resilience that comes from only no choice or control in what's occurring in your life. And when you relinquish to that, you can actually enjoy life more when you realize it's not all your responsibility. That doesn't mean not taking responsibility. We need to take responsibility as well. But there's also things that happen outside, that we may not understand right now.
I think the resilience part is a big point. And, I've always thought of it with my stuff. Like there's definitely been times, especially this year, like closing down my studio yesterday.
I saw the van. I saw the evidence.
Yeah, you've seen the bolsters that are bulging outside of my van. There's a point where, even like I've been asked this about all my different careers, all my different businesses, companies, projects, where it's like, we were joking before, and I was like, another failure. But for me, I keep coming back, and will keep coming back, even though there's those periods of lulls where it's tough, and whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether it's things going on in life. But for me, even when I was playing soccer, it was you're not playing one game and that's it. You're playing a season, and you may not win that season or win the trophy or whatever, but you're playing for the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Now that's always been my perspective of you may have one bad season, but you work on that. And that's why, for me, having a long-term vision has always played into it. Yeah, I didn't expect this shit to happen right now, and I did not plan for it either. Probably will now. Have a better plan in place. But for me, that resilience part is, one, knowing my purpose, and purpose being I'm here to help people connect back in with who they really are, remember who they are, similar. But also that I want to make that impact on the world. I don't have to, but I want to. And yeah, that's why I get myself in certain situations or take certain risks or do certain things. We don't have to do any of this. We were talking about business before, expanding and brick and mortar and all this and employees. Like it's just, it would be much simpler to just, like I could quit everything, just work at my sister's restaurant, serve cocktails and get my paycheck and be like, how you going? Live the next week.
It's not what you want.
It just, there's that innate thing within me that is like, okay, I'm going through the shit now, but I know, even though I joke through all of this, right? That's my cover up to it, is humor. I know there's a greater purpose. I know there's a lesson in it. I know that that's all teaching me something. It's going to be great in the book that one day gets written. 2 years in the making. That'll eventually show me whatever universe God is trying to show me. The quote that my mate Owen always says is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So I'm like, well, you're qualifying me. I'm
really well.
So whatever's coming, all right. But how, for you, how does that resilience play into part? Because like, you've gone through a lot, and there's things we can and can't mention here, but even like, the stuff online where you had this really nasty thing put up, and, I messaged you straight away when I seen it, and it was just like,
well, that's almost a constant now.
But that stuff sucks, right? You're trying to do good, and, this stuff comes up.
So Carlo's referring to a lot of people make videos making fun of me on Instagram, on TikTok, all that kind of thing. Either calling me like a fraud, or calling me someone who's out to make money off people, saying I pay actors to move on the table, saying I'm fat, saying I'm skinny, saying I'm ugly, I'm too pretty, I only got somewhere because I'm pretty, like you name it. I was getting a lot of messages telling me that I should go kill myself, all sorts of things, and not just a few messages, at least up to 100 a day at one point. But you have to understand, number one, I'm aware that the work is provocative. And I think it takes a certain person to be willing to put their face to it. There's a reason other people have been doing work before me that was, I don't want to say similar, but under the same notion in terms of releasing bodies in this kind of response. They didn't share it. There's a reason why they don't share it. There's fear, and there's fear because people will attack you for it. And I'm okay with that. Now, that doesn't mean at the time I was okay with being told I should go kill myself constantly. It did affect me a lot, and also because I'm not a bad person. I'm not doing this for money, let me tell you. There's a lot of things I could do for money that I would be of, I guess, more easily understood by most of the population. This isn't something that I do for, I guess, what's the word? Acceptance. Because most people don't understand it, nor accept it, nor actually respect it, number one. So if I was going to pick something to be fraudulent about, it wouldn't be people moving on tables. It'd be something that made me look a little bit more, I don't know, better. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I really am just wanting to help people. And by, these great things like Instagram and TikTok, I'm able to spread this work in a way that we weren't able to spread it before. Now, how that spreads isn't in your control all the time. Okay. You're going to change lives through it, but you're also going to have people who don't understand it. And, it's easier said than done rationally to understand all this kind of thing. Also, if it was money particularly, I would have let everyone in who wants to do my courses. Integrity is such a huge part of the business model that it is hurtful. But they don't know me. They don't understand the work. The people who are commenting on these kind of things are people who aren't my audience, who are never going to understand this kind of work. And it's not my job to make them understand. It's not my job to make them accept me. What's my job is to accept myself and stand by what I do and my work and be proud of what I do. And not just proud for me, but proud for my community. And I have to be strong for my community. So if I fold from those attacks, then I'm showing them that it's okay to do that. And it's not, it comes with the territory now. But I think the first time it does happen, it is a little shocking. And I did get a little, sad. I think I rang you and I was like, who's picking on me? And also I think the way they picked on me sometimes, I don't want to say that in that way, but is because I'm a woman by myself in this business as well. So I don't have a male along my side to protect me in terms of that. What they were focusing on were things like my looks. They wouldn't necessarily do that if I was a male. So it's a whole bunch of different things that you just accept in life. But I think with like what you were saying in terms of your soccer career, the other things that I've gone through in my life, you start to really understand what's important and what's not important. What deserves a response and what doesn't deserve a response. And it did deserve a response and within me for a moment, but I cap it. I give it a moment in time to where I experience that, let myself feel what I need to feel. And it was a lot. It was intense. And now I get some messages like that, just delete, block. Like it doesn't even faze me anymore. And it's very interesting. Like one thing that happens now could have really upset me a year ago, just doesn't even touch the sides anymore. So that shows me my growth in terms of that acceptance as well.
Mm. And I think it's just the other side, because I can come from a place of empathy to a point in this, but also compassion where when I was running the Conscious Collective, there was a TikTok. This was when TikTok just started, and this one lady was really big, and I got mentioned in the comments as a cult leader. And and I people were saying like, oh, you're featured in this TikTok as a cult leader, and I was like, haha, yeah, as if they'd comment on me. Like I'm not a public figure here. And then, I went through it, and like the comments that were made, I was like, oh, this is public. Like,
I know.
This is a lot of people have seen this TikTok and my name is there. Yeah. For what reason? I'm like, I don't even know. No. It was someone made a fake account, and I'm like, well, that's really interesting because everything I do is from a place of good intention.
Yeah.
Yes, I have to charge for things because that's, courses, programs, whatever.
Well, in the spiritual world, I don't know if you know, but you're supposed to do everything for free.
Yeah.
So the guy can do, make huge money off whiskers. That's fine. But
what?
if you whiskers like cat food,
Oh,
like, that's fine. But if you're a spiritual person, you have to do things for free in order to have integrity. Even though I studied for 10 years, my HEC stats at about 150K. The amount of money it costs to even run my businesses is insane, but I'm supposed to do it all for free.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I can now come from a place of experience where it's like, even with my hub, everyone's like, but just keep it open. Like, it's a good thing. And it's like, yeah, I'm the one losing money, not you. It's good for you. And it's good if it was even just breaking even.
Yeah.
But when it's not, it's like, well, you have to charge, and you have to, charge a certain price to even.
But it's a service.
Get by. It's not like,
knowledge.
well, it's not like you have a job that's paying you on the side. It's everything you do within this space is your job, and have taken the risk to start a business to try and set it up in a way that you're a business owner.
Yeah, and so it's a strange little world out there. But I think for me it was similar to you. Like, why me? Like, why did they choose me? And I think there's something in us that shines in terms of a light, whether to say that in some way, where people are attracted to it. They're attracted to it enough to be successful, which makes sense. But then there's people who don't like that you're successful. And then there's also people who don't understand why you're successful when they think they should be successful. A bit of tall poppy syndrome as well. And also they don't understand it. But also I was able to let it go because they weren't people who actually experienced my work nor met me. So they're not actually educated opinions, But, I want the work to be accepted long term, but only by those people who are willing to accept it. And that's all I can do. Joe Dispenza's still not accepted, and it's bloody 2023. Like,
and that's got science behind it.
Yeah, that's got everything. And that's the thing. Like, I would love to have science behind it too, but at the end of the day, people only accept what they're willing to accept.
Yeah, you could have all the everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I just recommend get on the table and let Sarah yank your arm and you'll feel it.
Well, that's an undeniable feeling.
Oh, man, I just remember everyone's like, you set it up so well, and whoever did the demonstration, we're all just like, oh, man, what the fuck is going to happen?
Yeah.
And then I was first, and then you nearly pulled me off the table, and I was like, the noise, I don't know if I squealed or
I
just...
think you did do a squeal.
And then everyone was like, oh, shit. Like, everyone was so nervous to come next because I was like, oh, my God. I've never felt that before. But
it's energy work, my friend.
Yeah, well, that's just something people are going to have to experience somehow.
Well, we've got lots of practitioners.
I was going to say, probably not from you because in demand and time very short. But the question I want to ask is, how does it feel to be Sarah in this moment right now?
Oof. Conflicting. Yeah, like I can see a lot of the good that we're doing, but it still isn't at the scale where I would like it to be. Mm-hmm. And, there's good days and there's bad days. Overall, I'm happy with who I am as a person, so I think there's peace in that. What there's not peace in is probably my ability to take this to where I want it to be, and where it is currently, I still want it to be in a different place. I want more people experiencing the work. I want more people understanding. I want more people aware of it. I want more practitioners. I want people experiencing what spinal energetics is so that they can live a life that's more attuned with who they are and all that kind of stuff. So I'm wanting it to be bigger, that's for sure. So I kind of have this constant drive in me, and I think people are always like, well, when's it going to be enough? When are you going to be proud of what you have? And it's not that I'm not proud, it's just I know within my soul it's saying that's not it yet. It's not it yet. It's not an egoic thing. It's not it yet, and because I look a certain way, I can get put in that box of ego or arrogance because I wear makeup or do my hair or wear nice clothes when I do this work. But I was a fashion stylist before this. I've always loved fashion. I was into hair. I was like, I'm still allowed to be a human being and be in a spiritual space.
You got to wear trackies and a hoodie.
I don't know what I have to do.
No, sorry. That's not even the spiritual. That's me.
What it is.
That's
we've got spinal energetic clothing coming out, which is hoodies and trackies actually. So that will fit the mold well.
Love merch.
Yeah.
You have to wear feathers and,
I don't know. I don't know what they want from me, but it's not what I do.
All white.
Yeah, all white. Actually, all white. Today I am.
Definitely in...
Very bohemian, guys.
Burning Man costume today.
Just need to put sparkles on my hair. I don't know, but you can only be yourself. Yeah. And I am definitely myself. And that comes with the good, it comes with the bad. I've learned a lot of lessons this year in terms of naivety, in terms of thinking people will do what I would do. Not always the case. Or just, I'm growing constantly because I'm experiencing new things constantly and taking risks constantly. And that doesn't mean every risk always works out. I think that's part of it. I think you have to be okay with, I don't like the word failure, but I think you have to be okay with it. You got to try things. You just got to try it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You pivot and you do something else. There's always room for pivoting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most successful people fail the most. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or be willing to.
So how does it feel to be you?
Look, this year's been an interesting year. Like I said, I'm happy with who I am. I feel congruent with who I am. I feel sometimes, though, the world is a hard place to be in, which is why I'm so passionate about what I do. I want people to feel like they belong here. And if it's not in the bigger scheme of a community, it's within at least our community. That's why I created it. So I had somewhere to belong.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get it, the why we do what we do. But yeah, I'm still not 100% the person I want to be yet. I'm still developing in terms of that. I'm still...
Explain that. Not the person you want to be.
Yeah, not just yet in terms of... how can I word it? In terms of growing from my experiences, I think I definitely have. But I think there's more room. Definitely. And I'm someone who's very self-aware of my shortcomings and someone who's very aware of the good things within myself too. But whenever I notice something that can develop in a way that's going to be of benefit for myself and more so benefit for people around me, then I will do what I can to alter that and to try and understand why I am the way I am in terms of those traits or those responses, and really just wanting to understand, myself better. So I think I haven't had as much priority in terms of really looking at myself this year as much as I have in other years. So I'm starting to delve more into that again now. We're not traveling internationally for the rest of the year. So instead of just focusing on teaching and courses and constantly, I don't know.
Outward.
Outward. I get to go a bit more inward in the next 6 months, which is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, another Vipassana.
I actually, was looking into Vipassana again. I saw Steve's going on it.
Yeah.
I was like, jealous. But just, I think it's so important to know who you are and to connect to yourself and the real you constantly. And I haven't had that space as much recently. So I'm really enjoying starting to connect back to myself again.
Yeah, because I think I've had this experience in the past 7 months, as I was telling you before. Like, when you're doing, you do forget to be sometimes. And especially when you're running a business, an organization, a company, and something as large as what you have created, and which is so impressive for, to be, someone on the side, a friend watching this growth. We were speaking about all this, and you were like, I want to create the course and do this and this, and it's all happened. Now you're traveling all over the world. Like you've done that, but there's almost like this.
It's a distraction though at times in the sense of, it's well,
we're all looking for that almost equal balance of like this me and purpose, and does it ever come into balance? I don't know, but it's like when it goes too far one way, we definitely know we have to go the other way.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm at a little bit with it. Like, I'm just wanting to, and this is the moment where I'm able to do it a little bit more. So this is all planned. This is all purposeful, just so I can chill out a bit. Also, like, we're coming up with level 2. I need that time and space and to be inward to actually create again as well. So to create, you need to be in a place of, energy richness and a place of that, I guess, that part in you that's got the ability to be creative again.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be centered for it to be an actual, that's how I like to release things. I like to release it from a place of where I feel centered and it's an actual, expression of self. And if I can't do that, I can't do that whilst doing 20 billion other things at once. Not purposefully. Purposefully.
Purposefully.
Is that it?
Yeah.
3 degrees and can't speak English, So, didn't teach me that in any of my science degrees, did they, Lulu? But yeah, so it's all good. I'm happy with where it's at, but it needs to be doing more than what it's currently doing, and that's okay too. I'm happy with my growth in the last few years, but it's still got to keep growing.
Yeah, and you've got that like ambitious drive, and from everything you've just said, like from a place of you want it to impact more people, you want to do those things, and I can relate to that, and if anyone else can relate to that, you've been nodding your head here, but it comes with that willingness to be resilient. Otherwise, you would have given up a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. And there's ups and downs in everything. And there's a new lesson in everything. Once the business is settled, then something happens in the clinics. And once the clinics is settled, then something happens in the courses. Once the courses is settled, then something happens in admin. Once the admin is settled, then something happens in the students. Then something happens in the students. Then something happens in my personal life. Then something happens, when you've got all these balls in the air, you have to be understanding that there's going to be something going on at each time, and that's part of the deal for me. And I actually enjoy that, though. I enjoy having different parts. I love that I can be a practitioner some days. I love that I can be a teacher other days. I love that I can, do a podcast another day. I love that. I love how varied my day-to-days are, and that's what I've wanted to create, so that I'm not doing the same thing over and over again as well, that it's something really congruent to myself, but unique as well in the sense that it's not monotonous. So, I'm a creative. That's what I am. I'm a creative, and this is how I create.
Yeah, one of your creations.
Yeah.
One of your ways of creating. So when you were talking about juggling a lot of balls, do you juggle less balls, or do you just become more skilled at juggling balls?
My nature is not to juggle less balls at this point in time. Plates,
to make
balls,
it sound a bit.
That's not
better.
my nature at this point in time. So at this point in time, there's quite a few things I feel deep within me need to be occurring. Therefore, there's going to be quite a bit of juggling going on at this point in time in my life. But I don't believe this is the way my life's going to be forever.
Yeah.
So I'm working really hard at the moment to get it to a certain point, a certain place, where maybe it's not just me juggling. Then I can get more people on board to help me. And I do have a great team now, but even a bigger team or whatever to assist where it's not just up to me. Where it's not just my drive anymore. So, but at this point in time, I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah. With
the plates.
Balls.
Balls, plates, whatever. So I'm happy. But, like I was saying to you before, I don't know if I'll continue to be doing this 10 years from now. I might be doing something completely different. And I'm totally open with that. I just listen to what my soul tells me that I'm meant to be doing. Yeah. And that's what I do. Until it tells me this isn't what I'm meant to do, I won't be doing it anymore. How
do you hear that from your soul?
I think I've spent a lot of time in my life connecting to who I really am. And so I know the communication from it, and I know when something's not quite in alignment, And that doesn't mean everything's easy all the time. You can still be in alignment and have challenges. That's not what I'm suggesting. But when you're in alignment and these things come up, you keep going. There's something within you that's like, yes, it doesn't matter. This is what I need to be doing. Like even with those videos and things like that, I was like, no, it doesn't matter. I still keep going, still keep posting. But there might be a moment in time where I'm like, hey, there's something in me that's saying this isn't quite, I'm getting drawn to this area now instead, or my heart wants to go this way. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like for you, like the hub, okay, now it's not. Doesn't matter. And I think it's so important that people understand that as small business owners in Australia, post, what we've all gone through the last few years, it's not a simple thing. I think we live in this entrepreneurship kind of decade where everyone's an entrepreneur and everyone's thriving. And it's like, no, that's not really the case always. Like we've all failed. All of us. And we've got to be open about that so that people understand that that's what it's about. It's about failing, growing. And the success doesn't feel good if it was easy. It just doesn't. If everything came to you so easily, what joy is in it? Like the joy literally comes from understanding like what it took to get there sometimes, especially for me in terms of my work. I'm just like, I know when we put a course on what work that took to even put one on, like to get to LA, to find a place, to get all that stuff. Like behind the scenes is insane, you know. So at the end of it, you're just so proud because you understood what it meant, detail by detail. If it was that simple, everyone would be doing it. But who wants to be like everyone?
Yeah. I think there's enough of that.
I was never that anyway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me. I was like, why are you so yourself? I'm like, I can't actually help it. It's always been like this since I was a kid. I was like, everyone was like, oh my God, Sarah, you're so, why can't you just be normal, you know? So I was never meant to be normal. And I love that about me now. It took me a long time though. I used to resent it. I wanted to just have a normal life. Like you were saying, like job, 9 to 5, you know, the same partner.
You went into admin at the chiropractic centre.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. But it was still very heart-centered.
Yep.
Which is why I don't think it needs to be like you have to have your own business to feel purposeful. You don't. But it has to be in something that's still growing you and that your heart's connected to. And I was making large impact being a receptionist within a chiropractic clinic. Sounds strange, but I felt like I was making even more of an impact than necessarily the chiropractor was at times. We were just as important as each other. And I think when you feel that in any team, that's when you realise, like, that makes life worth living, when you feel purposeful.
So, actually, no. Maybe not that job. There was other jobs you've done that we've discussed that we won't mention online, but that we've both done. We've both done that. We're probably not from a place of purpose, but
no, some of them were not
from a place of I need the money.
So I need the money, and also
but also not to throw people too far off there. Get your mind out of the gutter, but just jobs that you did.
You know what? Like it's all experience. Like. It's all a bit of a joke, you know, like, so just experience it, you know. We're not going to be here for that long. Yeah. And I think it's a misconception that you're supposed to enjoy it here all the time in terms of it's supposed to be peaceful.
I thought you were going to say, well, we're supposed to enjoy it. I think so.
No,
yeah, but not all the time.
I shouldn't believe that.
Really?
No.
You don't think we're here to enjoy parts of this?
Parts, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was leading to.
Parts.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're meant to have a peaceful, joyous life all the time in the sense of it coming easy.
Well, that takes away every fucking Instagram profile that we follow. Like,
I think, that's why I love Buddhism so much because it's got such a realistic response to life. It doesn't mean you can't be happy. It doesn't mean you can't be joyous. And you can find that in the most simple of things. But life is also painful. And that's why that religion, or at least philosophy, sat very well with me. It wasn't like, this is happening because it's supposed to make you a better person and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that things don't happen for that reason. They definitely can and do at times. But it was about, this is hard, this is suffering, this is pain. But you're going to find the joy in life anyway. And I think that's what appealed to me. It was just like, this is a real point of view. Like, this is... like it's not something in the sky that I have to pray to make life better. I can actually make life better through my own understanding. Yeah.
I think that's like a Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Like, you will, like you said, you will find joy in any experience, even if right now it's the most toughest thing you're going through, most challenging, and I can attest to that. Find enjoyment in it. Like, that story was, the man that was in a concentration camp with his family and found joy and also taught his kids how to find joy within that.
Yeah.
Within a much worse situation than what I'm in my life right now.
Yeah.
But it's a perspective, isn't it? And I think it's like, I guess this is the work that I love doing and sharing because it's like, I try... I know even yourself too, like, and we're doing this right now on this podcast, is we try and be as open and honest as we can because we want people to see the realness. We were chatting before this and I was like, but it seems like on Instagram everyone's just happy and having a great time. But it's like, well, yes and no. Like, we know behind the scenes of all that stuff.
Yeah, I think, look.
It's great marketing, but...
Yeah, but we do it on purpose as well because we think that's all we're allowed to show because you can get attacked if you show something else as well. And then sometimes people are trying to be vulnerable and then it's also like that's an act as well. Like it's just,
There's definitely acting.
Yeah, so it's just say it how you feel. It's okay. And you're allowed to change your mind. Like, I know this is how I'm feeling today, but next week I might be like, oh, you know how I said that? I actually don't think that anymore. I'm very open to changing in terms. I'm not so attached to any of my belief systems or attached to my understanding of the world as it is now. I know it will change because it's changed already. In fact, I look at that as a positive. I like changing. I like changing and understanding things different. And the way I understand the world now is very different to the way I understood it even a year ago. And that's how I kind of monitor my growth as a human. I'm like, okay, am I different? Have I, is the way I view people different? Is the way I view my beliefs about the world different? Yes, it is. And that's growth to me. And I'm kind of happy as long as I'm growing. I find it very challenging not being peaceful and still. That's different. But if I feel like I'm stagnant and I'm not developing, then I find that challenging. I love to learn. It's part of my nature. I'm very curious. I just love to experience what I can experience, the good and the bad of this strange little place that we're finding ourselves.
So we've got 5 months left of the year.
Oh,
and you're
fuck
saying,
off, Carlo.
Yeah, I know.
Why would you
I know.
say that?
Well, not that time and years and months really matters, but like for you, you're not traveling much.
No.
Still very much focused on business and stuff, but
yeah. I'm actually wanting to have a little bit more of a personal life in the next 6 months. That's something I'm interested in.
You're gonna come visit Mildura.
Yeah, I might come to Millie. Is that what we call it?
You can
Mildy?
call it Millie. That's very, like, if you're from Mildura, you say Millie. But
see? There's something in me that needs to go. So I just want to have a little bit more personal time.
Fun.
And a little bit more fun. And I am very fun. So
when are we going to Bali? Like?
Yeah, I know. I do love Bali. Carlo does know that. So, I just want to experience a little bit more fun, but also just so I can regenerate to then focus back on the business. Yep. And that's not to say that, for me, my business is really part of an extension of who I am. And I know not everyone runs their business like that, and that's not necessarily a positive or a negative. I'm not suggesting either. But for me, the reason I get so much out of it is because it's literally an extension of what my development is as a human, and it's a reflection of that. So that's why I love sharing in terms of the business realm.
Yeah. And also think that, like, it's not coming from a place of the work that I do is exhausting in terms of I don't like it. It's exhausting to be here mentally, physically, emotionally. It's you need to also fill your cup to be able to give more. Yeah.
And, the parts that I don't love about business, I'm in a place now where I can actually start giving that to other people to run. So I can actually focus more on what I do love, which is really exciting for me. So if I'm creating, I'm happy. If I'm connecting with other people, I'm happy.
Yeah.
And so really connecting with people.
Yeah. What do you want to do more of in these next couple of months? Horses?
I love horses, actually. I think just making more time to with my friends and things like that, which is nice because I can be, I can work a lot. So I'm looking forward to a little bit more of that. Summer's coming, a little bit more work-life balance would be nice. But there's also moments in time where I really like to delve into my work. That's just a thing at the moment where I'm like, I've, worked really hard for the last 9 months. I haven't been home much. So that's great. Now, we just opened up the HQ. The clinics are running. I'm feeling into things just, I guess putting finishing touches on things, just tightening things up a little bit so they can run even better. And, we got courses coming up September and November, and then the last for the year. I can't believe I'm talking about them. And, we just launched online, like I said, as well. So we've got a lot of little things that we're just fine-tuning, making sure that people get the best experiences that they can. And also what's really cool is when I look back on, like, my teaching style from a year ago to how I'm teaching the work now, I can see how I've grown and developed as a teacher as well, which I love. So I'm happy. I'm happy with how things are. Next year, more teaching, going to different countries that we haven't been to yet, spreading the work so that there's practitioners in places of the world that then are not currently. And, I don't know. We'll see where the wind takes me. I will write my goals and plans. I do tend to do that. I am that person. But this year, I've done them all but one. I was a bit disappointed. I haven't learned Italian this year. That was my goal this year. One of my personal goals. But
Tu parlano italiano?
Yeah, I wanted to go to Italy for like 3 months and do an immersion.
Just come work at my sister's restaurant. They're all from Italy, and you learn a lot.
So it's on my life list, but there's usually I write quite a few goals, and so there's usually a couple that don't quite make it, due to, I guess, underestimating the time it takes to do some of the others on that list.
Don't have Duolingo on your phone?
I do have Duolingo, so I do that. But I wanted to really go to Italy for a bit. But Cooper's been sick, so I've just been chilling with him. Coopsy. So
didn't even flinch. Cooper.
He's used to mummy working hard.
Hey, come here.
Yeah, nah, he's over it. He's like, mummy's doing another podcast where she talks. Yeah, so I can't really travel too much with him being a bit unstable at the moment. So yeah, we're just chilling with Coops. And yeah, there's Italy next year, hopefully, instead, or the year after. Look, the plans change depending on what gets prioritised. But it's one of my life goals.
Yeah.
So I have yearly stuff and then life stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'll get done at some point.
Oh, you never know. Next year we could be somewhere on the Amalfi Coast.
I have not been to the Amalfi Coast.
And Aperol Spritz.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Speaking Italian.
Grazie.
Yeah.
Ciao, Carlo. Ciao.
Buonasera. It was funny at the restaurant. They're like, you need to introduce. We had a waitress that was an opera singer.
Oh,
so
wow.
she did a performance, and they're like, Carlo, you have to introduce in Italian. And I'm like, I don't even speak Italian.
What kind of Italian are you, Carlo?
Buonasera, signori and signore.
That's pretty good.
And no.
I
try. I try with them, but they're all like, no, speak to us in English so that we can learn English. And I'm like, no, switch it. I need to learn it. And geez, my grandparents, my no, did not pass on much of that. So
no, it's interesting when, I'm from a European background as well, and my mum wanted to be I'm Dutch.
Oh, so, that's right.
Yeah, my mum wanted to be as
I speak
Australian
more
as possible.
Dutch than
that's terrible. I speak more Italian than
Dutch.
Dutch.
Well, there you go. We've switched.
Terrible. But look, so I've got some personal goals I want to do. I also want to learn the guitar. I play piano, but I haven't quite learned the guitar yet. I started a little bit this year, but look, you can't do things consistently when you're away a lot teaching. So it just hasn't fallen into place. So that's okay. Yeah. We've got other things ticking along, which is great. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think they're going to come into play next year either.
I like that you've got fun goals, because I think when people do set goals, it's very like, your fitness, your health, your business, stuff like that. But
I do that.
Learning a language, like that's like the fun ones though. Like mine was to make pizza.
Did you make pizza?
Yeah, I've gone over to the Pizzaiolo and I'm like, mate, teach me what to do. It's not the best. It's definitely not to his standard. But I sometimes go and make the focaccia for the night, for the tables. And
that's cute.
It's something to know. I'm not going to go buy a pizza oven and possibly make it. But it's like, I know what to do.
I think learning's lovely. I love to learn.
Yeah.
So, but in saying that, which goal do you think goes to the wayside? Usually. The fun one. Yeah. So, I've got a pretty big 2-year plan. After that, I think there's going to be time for a little bit more
fun.
Just a little bit more. Well, they're all time consuming. Learning a new skill is time consuming. You have to dedicate yourself to it properly. And I want to be able to do that. And the next 2 years is really course focused and really getting spinal energetics out there more and more. And also myself out there in terms of being able to do different roles as opposed to just being in clinic as well. So more speaking events, more podcasts, more things like that as well. So you've got to create these opportunities too, and you can have it all, but you just can't have it all at once. So sometimes you've just got to, focus on what's more important in the moment in time and do that.
Yeah. So watch this space. I think there's a lot of good things coming from you. Lots more podcasts.
Horse sounds.
A lot more horse sounds. A lot more coops. And
yeah. Lost it. What's the time? It's 3:47. Explains why I've lost it.
That's all right. It's the mid-afternoon.
It is.
Feels. Do you drink coffee?
No. Can you imagine this on coffee?
I can't remember what we had last time.
I have chai, so I live off chai.
I feel like we went for coffee in South Yarra and you had coffee.
I definitely didn't.
Okay, well,
we have never been to coffee.
Yes, we did. Remember? I know the exact cafe.
Where did we go? You talked to me about it.
Do you want me to go specific Do you want to go to specific directions now? Toorak Road. And it was just off, and we had a toasted sandwich as well.
I am ashamed because I do not remember this even a little bit.
Feels great to be your friend. Look, I get it, but I remember. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been coffee. It would have been something.
Okay, well, you had something. I definitely had coffee.
It would have been chai.
I know exactly the cafe that it was too. Like, I know it in my mind.
Why don't I remember it?
it was one of 3 times we've caught up in my life.
Love you, mate.
Yeah, clearly. Jesus.
All the boys merge into one, Carlo.
Oh, what is that supposed to mean? Far out.
That's not true. That is so far from the truth. That was me trying to be funny and
This is not being
backfiring.
released.
No.
So no one's hearing this.
I don't know
So
why.
if you're hearing this,
funny.
we've made up and became friends again.
Comedian may not be the next thing for me based off that last one. No, I actually literally don't remember. But
that's fine.
I believe you, but I think it might have been a chai or a hot chocolate.
It's all right. Still love you, kind of. You've gone down in priorities. But,
I'm not going
that's
to
all
make
right.
it to Bali next year.
No. That was an invite-only list, and
Lost it.
you might be on the emergency list.
Someone will drop out. I'll make sure of it. Don't worry.
No, thank you so much for taking time to spend with me and to share. It's always
Just
lovely.
wanted to bloody see you.
Yeah, I know. But I have to do this
Have to
in
book
order
you
to make.
in.
Yeah, well, vice versa.
Yeah,
What is
I
that
know.
horse noise? To even see you. But now that you're having more fun, I'm probably not in my fun period at the moment, so probably we won't be seeing you.
One of us has to be.
But I can tee all that up to be more work with you that then makes more conversation, more podcast, more filming, that I'd spend time with you.
Look, I'll always support you in anything. You want me, I'm there.
I've got that on camera and
Yeah.
audio now.
When have I not?
so-
I've come to your live show.
You have.
I'm
You know
always
what?
there.
Whoever remembers last year live show, you featured it
I featured at one of them. Two of them.
two, the women's one.
Oh, yes, with Georgie and Nat.
And Nat.
And then Dan, Steve, myself, and Mon did one.
Mon, that was the first one. And see, I look back at that and I go, those were really fun. And why do I not do more of that? One, because there's costs involved in all those things. But
well, we can always have it
now
at my
that we
clinic.
know,
Then it's not a cost for you.
it's on record.
Yeah.
That's a virtual contract.
Yeah.
Signed. Now that I'm moving back, just let it out.
Oh!
It means that I can do more of this stuff. Being 6 hours away definitely made it more
Look, no
difficult.
one's
So
Millie's not pumping in terms of the
everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
pizza's pumping. Pizza and wine and Italians are pumping in Millie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the is it a lake or a river?
Pumping would be a different terminology that I would use, but there's a river.
The
Murray
and
River.
all of the streets are numbered, which is very joyous.
Hang on, have you been there?
I've been there once.
I feel like we've had this conversation.
I stayed on number 11 Street, I think.
Number 11th Street.
Yes.
There's a lot of things on 11th Street, but
I think that's where I stayed. I'm not sure. Yes, I went wakeboarding for the first time.
Well,
in
you could.
Mildura.
Oh, there you go.
Stood up for the first
I went.
time.
Well, you're beating me because I went wakeboarding for the first time in Mildura too, and have not stood up.
Haven't you?
I've swallowed a lot of that river, trying to stand
haven't
up.
stood up. You need someone there with you and giving you a nice lift.
What do you mean, give you a nice lift?
Yeah, that's how I learned. My ex-husband taught me. So he was in the water with me, and he pushed me up, and I stood up, and then after that, I could stand up all the time by myself. We obviously had to go back and get him. He was just sitting in the river for a while because I stood up for ages. He didn't expect me to stand up for that long.
Okay, this is a whole nother thing about, Georgia stood up straight away and I was just like, smack. Anyway, story for another time, but
Georgia is a high achiever.
Mildura, Italy, yeah, definitely in terms of
She's good at
wakeboarding.
bloody everything.
Definitely, I win in terms of snowboarding, but
You should be natural at wakeboarding if you can snowboard.
Nope.
Apparently not. Okay.
Nope. Need more practice.
We digress. We're sorry, everyone. This has turned personal. Sorry.
But you get to find out more. No, thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Being a friend and all the things that you do. Let's keep going. I will always be supporting you as well.
Let's do another one 2 years from now and see where we're at then.
That's too long. That's too long. I feel like this is like a once a month thing. And like we were talking about before, it's like I'm gonna switch it up. It's gonna be like there's gonna be another podcast where it's like we talk about the hot topics and we
I think that's cool. Almost like Q&A for the spiritual.
Yeah, Q&A, but also like, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I like it.
Tell me your perspective. Sing as though you're followed by a lot of people that want to know your perspective. You're just like, wow.
I don't know if they want to know it.
Maybe. Well, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it anyway. So If you're listening in, thank you so much. Or if you're watching on YouTube, what helps this podcast is if you like, subscribe, but also leave a rating and a review. The more of those means the better the guests I can get on. Not to say that Sarah wasn't a friend. It was all from the ratings and reviews. No, it wasn't. It was just a friend. But
devastated.
Yeah, but definitely go check it out. Go to Instagram, the Carlos Cirillo Show.
Yes.
All the little snippets will be there, and just share this with a friend. There could be something in here that inspires them to keep going if they're on a challenging path, or to just connect with one of us. Definitely go follow Sarah in all the things that she does.
Dr. Sarah Jane Cairo, Spinal Energetics as well. So both of those.
Hang on, they're separate. That's not in the same
Dr.
one.
Sarah Jane Cairo and Spinal Energetics.
And Spinal Energetics. And you can, I guess, book in and...
Yeah, we've got 2 clinics. Oh, 3, sorry, now, forgetting. And, over 300 practitioners around the world for you to experience spinal energetics. Not everyone's on the practitioner directory, but some of them are. And that's in our bios, both mine and Spinal Energetics. So go try it. It could change your life.
That arm pull will change your life.
Mm.
It's one of those things where don't go in with an expectation. Just allow, accept, and surrender.
Yep.
Ass. Just remember ass.
Oh, God. Start putting that on a flyer, am I?
I do, before every session. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Take care, everyone. Peace.
Oh, can I do the piece too?
Do it.
Boy.